We've analyzed more than 4.4 billion emails sent by our customers last year. We looked at open rates, click-through rates, unsubscribe rates, spam complaint rates, and many, many more. Based on that data, we created the Email Marketing Benchmarks report for 2024. In this video, I'm going to share with you the key insights and findings from this report that you can use to improve your email marketing campaigns. Ready? Let's go! The first key insight is that there was a huge surge in email open rates and click-through rates across all locations and main industries. Between 2022 and 2023, the average email open rate increased from 26.8% to 39.64%, while the average click-through rate rose from 1.89% to 3.2%. So that's a huge increase in the engagement rates, and that's something that surprised us because more and more people are sending emails. You get more competition in the email inboxes. So you might think that people are getting tired or it's more difficult to stand out from the crowd in a crowded inbox. But from what we found is that the subscribers, your recipients, are actually more engaged and more looking forward to high quality content coming from the creators and publishers that they follow. Keep in mind that part of these changes can be attributed to the ever increasing popularity of Apple devices and specifically their feature called Apple MPP, so Mail Privacy Protection, which unfortunately boosts the open rates with auto opens. However, this feature has no impact whatsoever on email click-through rates, which we also saw that increased throughout 2023 and 2024. This suggests that email marketers have done their homework and started delivering more relevant content, more engaging content, and started to pay attention to their subscribers' preferences and their responses and reactions to their email communication. The second insight is that automation is still the way to go. Yes, we've been talking about email automation for many years and it's not news. However, we're still seeing that automated emails or triggered emails are delivering higher engagement rates than normal standard newsletters. While the average engagement rate isn't as noticeable as it used to be, it is still the way to go. That doesn't mean you should send all emails in an automated way. A healthy email program includes all types of email campaigns. Those sent to all subscribers all at once, and those that are triggered by their activities or changes in their profiles or activities that happen throughout their customer's journey. One example of an automated email campaign that our customers sent were welcome emails, and these generated an average open rate of above 83% and an average click-through rate of above 16.6%. So if you're not sending welcome emails, you're missing out, you're leaving money on the table, because that is the best way to start the engagement, start the relationship with your subscribers in the positive way, and get them used to opening your emails and being engaged with you long term. Insight number 3, timing is everything. Marketers keep asking, what is the best time to send an email, to post on social media, to run webinars, etc. But is there one time that's best for everyone to send their email campaigns to maximize the engagement rates? Well, our data shows that there are 2 time slots that you might want to consider. The first one is early in the morning, around 4 to 6 a.m. and later in the afternoon, 5 to 7 p.m. This makes sense because people are most engaged with emails at the beginning of their working day and right at the end. However, it doesn't mean you should only send emails during these times. In fact, marketers who send their email campaigns in different times, for example at 10 a.m., saw higher click-to-open rates. So it depends really on what you want to do, how well you know your audience, and what is the impact that you want to make with your email campaigns. Naturally, when it comes to open rates and click-through rates, the best time is early in the morning because people have more time to engage with your emails, and later in the afternoon, they actually quite often just catch up on emails that they've received throughout the day. So it's your choice when you want to send your emails. If they can act upon your communication during the day, send it during the day. And if you want them to convert later after work, then you might want to send it later in the afternoon. Another insight that we found here is that high season means high engagement. That's something that's quite contradictory, something that we didn't expect ourselves. So we thought that later in the year, in the high season, more marketers are sending emails, so the average engagement rates are gonna drop because it's gonna be harder to capture the attention of your subscribers and you're gonna be competing with other marketers. Interestingly, however, we found that the average open rates and click-through rates actually increase in the Q4 can mean, which can suggest that actually subscribers are used to the fact that they will receive more communication, and they're also willing to shop. They're interested, actively engaged in checking out offers from marketers and creators and publishers that they subscribe to. So you shouldn't be worried too much about sending too many emails in the Q4. Yes, you don't want to go overboard and affect negatively your deliverability, but you shouldn't also be too worried about overwhelming your audience with communication. They are looking forward to receiving more offers in the Q4. They're going to be engaging with your email communication more. And if you're unsure how to do it properly, how to do it effectively, you can start with a re-engagement campaign. For example, in September, right when the back-to-school campaigns are hitting off, you might as well start re-engaging your email audience to get them used, to get them prepared for the high season in Q4. All right, another insight is that you should think long-term and avoid shortcuts. Again, one thing that marketers quite often ask us is what terms, what phrases they should use in subject lines to maximize the engagement rates. And yes, our data did suggest that certain words correlate with higher opens and click-through rates. However, I wouldn't necessarily just bet on that. So these words, for example, are like invitation, name of the month, now. These are the words that correlate with higher opens. Words like affordable or newsletter not only do see higher opens, but also higher click rates. That said, I wouldn't necessarily bet all the money on just using these words to increase your open rates. In fact, in my opinion, the marketers that see these higher opens, see these high engagement rates, not because of these words, but because they have built credibility, built trust, and engaged with their audience much sooner before they send these email campaigns, because they have good reputation, because these people trust them. That's why they got these high opens. So I don't think the causation here goes this way. It's more of a correlation than causation. So what you should do about this: think about whether you want to use these words or tactics like personalization or emojis, and test it yourself, whether this is going to be the right approach for you and if it's going to work for your audience. Because quite often the tactics that we copy from other marketers aren't going to necessarily work for us, because they're going to eventually become overused and everyone's just going to piggyback on the same tactic. They're going to just copy and paste the same tactic to their audience. So think differently, think for yourself, and see what works for your audience. Finally, once again in this report, I want to highlight that what you see in this report, so the average open rates, click-through rates, the tactics that they work or not, all of this has to be taken in respect to the audience that you have, or to the industry that you serve, or the product that you sell. So it's always important to know the context you're communicating in. If you have a bigger email audience, likely the average open rates and click rates are going to be lower for you, because you have a much larger audience and it's going to be more difficult to know everyone by their name. You're going to have more segments than people you normally would know by their name, or you would know their preferences. So always think about the context that you're sending your email communication in. Not all campaigns, for example, have to have high click-through rates. If you're updating your audience about the privacy policy, or you're just announcing a change in your company structure, these kinds of campaigns don't necessarily have high click-through rates. So always think about the context of your own company and the campaigns that you're running. Folks, that's not all. We have so much more insights and more data, more information in the full report. So be sure to check it out in the description. Also, in addition, we've created a special checklist for you that you can use to apply for your own email campaigns, to make sure that you follow all the best tactics and make sure that your email campaigns are using all the best strategies that there are to optimize them for better opens and click rates. So be sure to check it out. It's completely free for you, also available to you in the description of this video. Let us know what you think about this report. Did you find anything interesting, spectacular, exciting, or maybe surprising? Let us know in the comments and tell us if there's anything that you'd like us to investigate a bit more. We have access to a lot of data, and we're always interested in knowing what kind of tactics you want to utilize in your own email marketing campaigns. So be sure to hit reply, leave us comments to this video. Keep up the good work, and I'll see you next time.